In this skills-focused tutorial, you will learn how to use text creatively to make a typographic poster from the simple portrait. You can see the original image on the left, and we're working toward our final image on the right. You will need to go to the portal to download your image. Go to Curricula, TAS, Year 8 Technology Mandatory, click on it. Click on the OneNote Books and Other Resources tab. Text Smorgasbord, Photoshop, Extension Tute. Then you need to download a copy. So send to, download a copy of the extension Photoshop image. Click on the drop down arrow, save as. I already saved this into my appropriate file. You can see my links here, Year 8 2015 Smorgasbord Photoshop, so I'm not going to save this one. Once we've done that, open Photoshop, then File, Open. Open your image. So the first step that we need to do is create our color range layers. So to do that, I go to Select, Color Range. I want to find the shadows in this photograph, so I click Shadows, and I want to choose it from the image. So I've done that, click OK, and you can see a selection has appeared. There's a marking around certain aspects of the photo. I need to duplicate the background layer, Control J. Rename the layer, Shadows. Select the background layer again. Go back to Select, Color Range. This time we're going to select Midtones. Check Image again. Click OK. Control J to duplicate the layer again. Rename this layer Midtones. If you click on the eye on the background layer next to the thumbnail, it will actually turn that image off temporarily. So there you can see your shadows layer and your midtones layer. So now we're going to work with our color range layers. Click on the shadow layer to make it active. Go to the Edit menu and choose Fill. We want to fill this layer with black. We want to make sure Preserve Transparency is on. Click OK. Go to the midtones layer, Edit, Fill. This time we're going to fill it with 50% grey. Preserve Transparency is checked. Click OK. And you can see both those layers now. Midtones is in the 50% grey and shadows is in black. I want to merge these two layers together, so if I select the shadows layer and click Control E, that has merged those two layers together. You can click back onto the eye on the background layer to turn the background layer back on again. I now need to prepare my text. To do so, I need to create a new document. File, New. Call this document Text. I need to check that my measurements are in centimeters and change the width to 16 and the height to 12. Click OK once you've done that. I have a new document in front of me. I'm going to use the Type tool to write my text and create different typefaces in different sizes. So if I click on T for text, click and start typing anywhere on the page, I can type the words that you can see in the tutorial. Typographic. I want each word on a different layer, so to ensure that it goes onto a different layer, I click on any tool, in this instance the Move tool, then click back on the Text tool, click back on my document and type another word. I want to make this word in a different font from the first word I typed. So I go to the drop-down menu at the top, choose a new font, choose a new size, and click on my Move tool, click back on the Text tool, click back on the document, and then type my next word. So now I've typed all my words: typographic, beauty, female, portrait, women, or woman as I've written, and model. I need to rasterize these layers. To do this, I need to go to the Layers palette, right click on the layer, click Rasterize Type. Do this for all your layers. Once you have rasterized each of the layers, you then need to turn each word into a brush. To do this, turn all the eyes off, apart from the layer that you want to work with. So I've got typographic selected. It's also got the eye on, so it's visible on the document. Go to the Edit menu, define brush preset. Name the brush the same as the layer, so in this instance, typographic. Click OK. Turn that layer off. Turn your next layer on. Select that layer. Edit. Define brush preset. Name the layer. Do this for all your layers. Once you have defined all your brushes, go back to your original Photoshop image that you've been working on. Create a new layer by going Layer, New. Choose the brush tool by hitting B on the keyboard or clicking onto the brush tool in the toolbox on the left. To have a look at your brushes, you need to go to the Brushes option menu, which is at the top here on your screen. Click on this little icon here and it will open up all your brushes here. So if you scroll through these brushes, you'll see lots of different brushes, but you should also find the brushes that you have created, and mine are in this area here. So on the text layer, we're going to use our brushes. I'm going to start with my woman brush, and we're going to create we're going to paint with our brush. Essentially, we're going to paint with words. Now, if I painted just like this, my words would come out just in a line. It would smear. Control Z to undo. So what I do is look at spacing, and you can see as I adjust the spacing, the word spreads out a bit. I can also change the size or the diameter of my brush. So if I slide that down, my brush becomes smaller. You can see there. Control Z to undo. If I slide it up, my brush becomes bigger. You can see that there. Control Z to undo. So I'm going to keep mine approximately that size. I'm going to space it a little more. You can see the words spreading out there. And then I'm going to start working over the image with these words. So you can see they're fairly spaced out, but I need these to fill in where my image is, making sure that I'm only working on the text layer. Okay, I've worked with woman. I'm going to try one of my other brushes now. I'm going to try model. Again, I need to adjust the spacing. This is a little big, so I'm going to change the size or the diameter. Bring it up a little bit more and do maybe change the spacing again and do the same thing. So I'm working all over my image, including on the face. You need to fill in a lot of the gaps. You need to, wherever you can see image, make sure that there are words superimposed onto that. I've covered pretty much the whole of the photograph in text, 5 different texts, different sizes and different locations. I need to create a clipping mask now. To create the clipping mask, I need to hide all layers except the midtone layers. And then I need to click on it and make it active. If you hit Control A, that will select all the content on that layer. I then hit Control C to copy the content. I need to go back and activate the text layer. I'm going to click on Add Layer Mask, and there's an icon at the bottom here. You can see the layer mask is being added in the text layer. If I hold the Alt key down and click on the layer mask thumbnail, it becomes active. Control V will paste the content from the midtones layer into the layer mask. If I Control D, it will deselect the information there. And now I'm going to hit Control I to invert. You can see I have a negative image there. Click on the thumbnail with the text in it, then click on the eye, and you can see the words appear in your image. If you don't think you have enough words, which I might like to add a few more, as long as this layer is active, you can choose your appropriate brush and make sure you select the spacing correctly and the size, and you can add more words in if you've missed some of the shadowed areas. And you can see I'm able to add a bit more detail in there. Create a new layer. Select Control Delete to fill it with white. And drag it under the layer painted with text. Call the layer white. Create another new layer. Call that layer top text. Move that layer to the top and add text to the outside of your already existing text. So hit V for your keyboard shortcut for your brushes. Choose your words, choose the size you want them to be, and add them in to the outside of the image, making sure they're on the top text layer. Once you're happy with the amount of text you have, make the text layer active, or ensure that the text layer is active. We're going to add a gradient overlay. So click on the FX button, gradient overlay. Choose the type of gradient. We want blue, red, yellow. You can see the changes made to that layer. Click OK. We're going to do exactly the same thing to the top text layer. So select the top text layer, click on the FX button again, gradient overlay. But this time we're going to add a different overlay, and we're going to add a purple and orange overlay. Click OK, and the job's done.